Oh, well, look, here we are. Now, there's supposed to be a little chat box up there, but I can't see whether it's there or not. But if anybody's here and anyone types anything into the chat, I think it's supposed to appear on the screen. But we'll wait and see. So I had a little go at the Jersey Evening Post cryptic crossword today. And after the catastrophe yesterday, where I ended up hitting enter and two of the answers were wrong, I'm a little bit nervous about it, particularly as there are a couple of words that sort of fitted, but I wasn't quite sure whether they're right or not. Anyway, we're going to find out today. I couldn't do one across what marksmen use for locating heights, or at least I couldn't initially. So I had a little look at some other clues. 3 down, some of the children adore her. So I thought it was probably some of, it's hidden in children adore. And it's probably a girl's name in 3 letters. And I thought the end of children and the beginning of adore made Ina. And so that's what I've gone for there. I'm just going to tweak the camera there a touch. Sitting outside, another lovely evening. It's the last lovely evening there's going to be. So that's why I'm sitting outside again. Not as sunny as yesterday, but not bad by any stretch of the imagination. 3 down, where one enters a kind of game. I did eventually get that, but it took me a little while. 4 down, the part of the balance sheet that does you no credit. So I thought, well, if it's no credit, it's the opposite of credit, so it's debit. And I thought it was debit line. I wasn't entirely sure about that. I did want to just check a few bits before I put line in. 12 across, tear away to indulge in exploitation is going to be rip off, tear away. So that's making debit line look good. So I put debit line in. I mean, I don't know what debit line is, but it sort of sounds like a thing you might have in a balance sheet. I don't keep sophisticated accounts, so I don't know anything. We can check 8 across. It needs some pluck to proscribe Josephine. Well, to prescribe is ban, and Josephine is long version of Joe, and you pluck a banjo. So that's what I thought was happening there. 5 down, get right on to perform a recurring musical theme. So that's going to be an R on. R on. To perform is to do, and a rondo is a musical term of some description. I'm just going to open that up because that was missing. There we go. And where are we now? So 10 across. Paradoxically, a spiritless community is a ghost town. So obviously a ghost town is somewhere that lacks community. There's nobody there. But it sounds like it ought to be full of spirits, but it is spiritless. 6 down, originally it says approximate golf scores, and so I was absolutely convinced it was rough numbers, and then of course it couldn't be rough numbers, so it has to be rough figures. Oh look, I've made a mess of that. Let's start from up here. So I thought it was rough because golfers get stuck in the rough, but golfers play rounds, so in fact it is round figures as approximate golf scores. Of course it's approximate, so round figures. It's a kind of an instruction, isn't it? Then where are we? 13 down, where the bishop may be seen serving as a director. Bishop, of course, is going to refer to chess, and chess is played on a board And of course, if you serve as a director, you are on the board. So that's what I put in there. 3 down, where one enters a kind of game. Well, it looks to me like it's going to be indoor, where one enters. One enters indoor, and I guess you can have indoor games. I don't know if they're really a kind of game. I reckoned at this point that this is going to be finders. It says what marksmen use for locating heights, and I came up with route finders, which fits across there and fits nicely with 1 down, which is count of all those at the starting blocks. So it's talking about the beginning of a race, and so it's going to be running total. Count of all those at the starting blocks. 11 across is easy if you are British. Famous bareback rider is going to be Lady Godiva. There's no sort of cryptic anything in there. That means we ought to get 7 down because we've got the first and the last letter. Sorry, it's not. Is it 7 down? Yeah, 7 down. There we go. It didn't pop up for me. Money required for food. So a word for food that also means money is bread. I need some bread, man. 9 across is display of temper when father loses his head. Well, display of temper is probably ire. And so, is the father the sire? I suppose he is. If he sired his children. So I guess that's, yeah. That's what that is. 10 down, either sent to prison or allowed breathing space. Another phrase for going to prison is doing time. So this is given time. So you're given breathing space to do the work, but you're also imprisoned, you're given time. Here we have 15 across, authoritative decree for one in the artillery. I didn't get this until I'd got more letters filled in, so I obviously I remember what it is, but I will come back when there are more letters filled in. And I just saw the word in the letters that were there. This is 18 across. Somehow I'm at a fine fiddle, so I took this to be an anagram of I'm atta. That is also a brand name of a kind of high quality violin, and I did look up to see if there was such a thing as an amati, and there is. 16 down, as tense as evenly contested matches are. Well, an evenly contested match is a draw. So it's drawn because if a bow is drawn, I guess it's tensed. So that's the it's one of those double definitions. 14 down, disciple to wander all over the place. I did have a little bit of a pause about this, and then I realised that wander all over the place means it's an anagram of wander, and Andrew is an anagram of wander. I didn't know that Andrew was one of the disciples, I have to say. I didn't know it was a biblical name. At this point, I looked across at 15 across, and I could see ordinance, although I couldn't spell it, was right there. Let's get an O at the beginning. Ordinance being instructions, as well as being what the artillery fire. So the rounds that they fire is known as ordnance. I've done a little bit of Chaucerian English, so I recognised this. Bailiff is removed from here eventually. It is... no, then how did I get this? Bailiff is removed from here eventually. It is the end of here and the first three letters of eventually. It's reeve. A reeve being a sort of medieval kind of bloke who did important jobs for the local lord. I don't really know what 17 across is. Lightly touch on a quotation. I'm going to go with tag. Tig, tag, tog, tug are all words. I'm going with tag. But I'm not entirely sure I know why. Lightly touch on a quotation. On T lightly. Not much going on there for me. 21 across I got, I think, quite easily. Assistant scribes in the insurance world. Insurance is underwriting, and if you're an assistant scribe, you're an underwriter, like a sous chef. Underwriters, and then we've got one following the Spanish patriarch. So the in Spanish is L. And then if you have an I after it, one following, you'd get Eli. And I guess Eli was some kind of guy in the Bible who was a patriarch. Now at this point, we can see that I have not been told that things are correct. So route finders I'm not happy about because it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit the clue. What marksmen use for locating heights. And so if we take out the O, can we just do that? If we take out the O, the U and the T, eventually I thought it could be range finders. And I guess a mountain range is to do with height. So that's better. And debit line I was not happy with. And so I'm just going to change line into another word that fits. In this case, I'm going to go with file. And we're still not quite there. So let's just have a little look to see if I've put a typo in anywhere. Round, figures, maybe tag is wrong. Let's do a check answers. Oh, debit line is correct and debit file was wrong. Is that right? No. So we don't like debit line, we don't like debit file. I don't know what else I've got, to be honest. The part of the balance sheet that does you no credit. Oh, the debit pile? Look, that's not a thing, is it? What's going to go there? I was rather hoping that my lovely friend from yesterday was going to be in the chat and could help out. The part of the balance sheet that does you no credit. Debit. I've sworn it was file. No. It's not. No matter how often I type file, it's not going to like it. Debit line. I'm going to have to do a live Google, I think. Look up balance sheet. This is exciting. Just one word to go in there. Debit. The part of the balance sheet that does you no credit. So the no credit bit is debit. I just need a sort of thesaurus to come up with alternate words. The part of the balance sheet. Debit. The part, debit side. Well, that was painful. I think people must have found it quite difficult today, because that's me coming fourth. Stephen, Baz, Mr. Koala, Dave, Al. There's not many people who've had a go at it today. Dozy, Tortoise, Catherine. I think some of those clues were hard because there were lots of different words that would go in. The debit side, I get that. The part of the balance sheet that does you no credit. The debit side as opposed to the credit side, I guess. I don't know. I've never filled in a balance sheet. Anyway, that was fun. There isn't one tomorrow, so it'll be wet on Monday, but I'll still give it a go. Take care wherever you are. Well, I'm just going to write a message into the thing and say, and see if it pops up on the screen, which it should do. No. It's supposed to have the chat appearing on the screen. Oh, look, there it is. That's excellent. It's good when my bits of technology work. Bye.